Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamatsyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Shruti-smriti-purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-pada Shankaram Loka-shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhasha Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. We are on the portion of the text where Bhagwan is analyzing every kosha individually. He already has given us reasons why the body is not the Atma, etc., etc. But now he's going deeper into the discrimination by separating the koshas. As we know, this body, mind, intellect is made up of 5 koshas or 3 bodies: the gross, the subtle, and the causal. But right now he's on the 5 koshas, and each kosha he's explaining to us what it is and then why it cannot be us. That is the way this is going. For those of you who have been in the chapter 13, Bhagavad Gita chapter 13 class, understand that the description that is going on is of kshetra. There where there's kshetra, kshetrajna viveka was there. Bhagwan said, Arjun asked, what is kshetra, what is kshetrajna, what is the field, and who is the knower of the field? So there Bhagwan, what he calls as field, all this is field. So from that angle, anything that is seen is field. It is known by the knower. The seen is known by the seer. So what we are discussing right now is the known. It is seen. Body is seen. Pranas are seen. So last time we saw pranas. What are they? They are the 5 sense organs, the subtle sense organs, along with the 5 pranas. And pranas are a modification of vayu, air. So they are a modification. They are controlling the Annamaya Kosha because they are subtler than the Annamaya Kosha, the body. And I told you that if the pranas don't function, the body cannot move, cannot do anything. That's why if you have stomach upset or anything, it's the Samana Vayu that is not functioning properly. And if the pranas don't function properly, then the body is also not going to function properly because the pranas are controlling the body. And they do have existence and they do have activity, but they have no knowledge. Pranas do not have knowledge. That's why they're working 24/7. So because of that reason also, they cannot be the self, because Atma is all knowledge and pranas don't have knowledge. So even though we think that pranas are only an indication of life, they are not the consciousness, they are not the supreme consciousness. They are controlled by the supreme consciousness, they are controlled by Atma. But prana is called the linga sharira. Linga is indicator, because the first thing we would do is see if the person is breathing to know if he's alive or not. So they are just a linga, they're just an indicator of whether there is life in the body or not. They are not the supreme reality. And then we go on to a subtler, we went on to a subtler kosha, a sheath, which is the manomaya kosha. The manomaya kosha is subtler even than the pranamaya kosha, and it consists of the mind along with the 5 sense organs. All of them have come from the sattvic aspect of the 5 elements, and therefore the mind is predominantly sattvic. But for us, there is a lot of mixture of rajas and tamas, impurities, and therefore it has become impure. It is actually, originally it is very sattvic, but it becomes impure because of the mixture of the other 2 gunas. Through the manomaya kosha, the supreme reality expresses as existence, activity, and knowledge. The mind knows. Who knows? Who knows that the world is existing? Who knows that the world today is, it's good, bad day, rain, sunshine? Who knows this? It is the mind. Body doesn't know, pranas don't know, but the mind knows. And that's where it becomes more difficult for us to understand that I'm not even the mind, because mind has knowledge. Except the knowledge is because of the supreme reality is what needs to be understood. That is the viveka, that is the discrimination that we have to do. And so here we were on 167, we did that, where he explains what the mind is. It is the Jnanendriyas, the sense organs, and the mind. That is what? It is a part of that mind, intellect, chitta, ego, and memory. Memory goes with mind, ego goes with intellect. We'll see that also later. And then it pervades the pranamaya kosha. It can only go to realms known. It cannot go to realms unknown. So when we say, when the first uh, first what spaceship landed on the moon, all that came from the intellect. It didn't come from the mind, because nobody had gone to the moon for the first time. Whoever went, Russia, US, whatever, all those ideas came from the intellect of somebody, not from the mind, because the mind had never seen the moon. Now whatever comes, yes, the mind knows, but mind can only go to realms which it knows. Like my mind can go to India because I have been in India, but if there is some country where I have not been at all, the mind cannot go there that way. Okay. Also, the mind has to be present with the sense organs for knowledge to happen. So the eyes can see something, but if my mind is wandering somewhere else, knowledge will not happen in the mind. So the mind has to be present. It is considered as the king of the senses. It is the one that can control the senses. It can. If we keep it under the control of intellect, it can control the senses. Otherwise, the senses can pull it out. The mind is in between the senses and the intellect. So the mind has the capacity to go out with the senses or go in with the intellect. And that's where the purification becomes very important, purification of the mind. A purified mind will know that it is good for it to stay with the intellect. An impure mind will run out of with the senses. Okay, and the mind is the one that creates the differences. This is mine and this is not mine. It is the mind which creates, not the body. Then in 168, Bhagwan gave a metaphor of the Havan being performed, and there are 5 priests, he says, who are offering oblations into the fire. So the mind is the Havan, the Yajna Kunda, made out of bricks and the fire. And in this blazing fire, the 5 priests of the sense organs are constantly offering oblations. So color and form, sound, taste, touch, and smell, All these are being offered into that mind, and the fire of desire is kept ablaze because they are being offered, and then the mind wants to know more, mind wants more, more. And this is how the mind is kept active by the senses. When the senses are folded, as in deep sleep, what happens to the mind? Mind also goes. Mind cannot function without the sense. They are bringing in the perceptions, they are bringing in the oblations, and the mind is functioning under their influence. An impure mind will function under the influence of the senses, but a pure mind will function under the intellect, as per the dictates of the intellect. But this is what is happening, and that therefore it becomes very important to control the senses. Um, in chapter 12 it comes Sanyam Mendra Yagramam, verse 4, that the senses have to be kept under absolute control. This is why, because that is when the senses are kept under control, the mind will automatically come under control. And it is an extremely important instruction for anybody who is walking the spiritual path. Now he tells us why, the next one, 169. Nahyatya vidya manasotirikta manohya vidya bhavabandha hetu tasmin vinashte sakalam vinashtam vijrumbhitesmin sakalam vijrumbhate. Apart from the mind, there is no ignorance. Avidya. The mind itself is the ignorance, which is the cause for bondage of rebirth. When the mind is destroyed, everything else gets destroyed. When the mind manifests, everything else manifests. These last two lines, let's take them first. Tasmin vinashte sakalam vinashtam vijrumbate. So vijrumbate is to burst forth, to rise. Think about this, our deep sleep state every day, every night, right? What happens in deep sleep? The mind folds. Mind goes into its causal state. It doesn't die. The mind doesn't die, but it goes into the causal state. And so Vinashte, of course, here he's talking about liberation. He's talking about the destruction of the mind. He's talking about manonasha, as Raman Maharshi would call it. But even in deep sleep, there is manolaya. Laya is there. So it folds into the causal state, and the world is not there for us anymore. And when does the world come into existence for us? Is when this mind rises up. In the morning, the mind rises awake, the person awakes, and the first thing the mind thinks is, okay, I am. And then follows all the, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have this appointment, that appointment, etc. And all this world unfolds when the mind wakes up. So here what Bhagwan is saying is, he's talking about final liberation. He's not talking about deep sleep. I'm just giving you that example. There is no ignorance other than the mind. In the sense, where is the ignorance? If knowledge is in the mind, mind is expressing as knowledge, the mind itself is veiling the truth. Who is veiling the truth? It's like our clouds. Okay, the sun has given birth to the clouds, and clouds in return are covering the sun. So the mind has come from the substratum. What is the substratum? Pure consciousness. The mind has come from there, and now the mind itself is as though veiling. We say as though, ever, because actual veiling can never happen. So the mind itself is as though veiling, and therefore this mind is the cause of ignorance. And because the veiling is there, I start thinking that the unreal is real. The unreal is me. The real is veiled. What is the real? Pure consciousness. Now what happens is, the real I don't know, it's veiled. And now I start thinking that unreal is me. So the body is me. The world is something separate from me. And then it is creating desires. Also this avidya, like Gurudev has written, avidya, total maya is what? Prakriti is what? We are doing chapter 14. I told you, Prakriti is nothing. It is sattva rajas tamas. So this avidya is sattva rajas tamas. So mind is sattva rajas tamas. What is the mind? It is only sattva. It's either a predominance of sattva or a predominance of rajas or a predominance of tamas. Now these gunas are acting, but the mind, because it does not know who it really is, who is it really? Pure consciousness. But it itself has veiled that. So now it thinks I am the doer. I am the doer is rising in the mind. Ultimately, we will come to ego, but generally the mind is the one that says that, okay, I will do this thing I desire. And so now I'll do this to get this. And then that doership is giving rise to result, enjoyership. It is giving, because I did something and then I got the result and now I'm going to enjoy the result. Now I want more results. And then it's creating this cycle of birth and death. So this is what he says. Manohi vidya avidya, manohi avidya bhava bandha hetuhu. Hetuhu is cause. Hetu means cause. It is the cause for bhava bandha, bhava sansara, bandha bondage. Mind is the cause. It is not the body. Please understand, the body acts. Okay, the body will go maybe whatever, do whatever it has to be done. But body is being controlled by the mind. This is the viveka we are doing. Extreme, because action, who did action? Suppose I go kill somebody, oh, of course body did, hands went and killed. Yeah, but who was directing the hands to kill? Is the mind. And therefore mind is the culprit, mind is the cause. So mind is nothing but ignorance. Bhagwan Shankaracharya is saying it is because it is made up of, and sattva rajas tamas cannot exist without the mind. It's that's why they are also known as varna. Varna is color. Can a color exist without a substratum? Just in the air, I cannot show you red, but I can show you an object which is red. So the color has to have a substratum, a cloth, whatever, a paper, whatever it may be. Just color I cannot show you. Like that, sattva I cannot show you, rajas I cannot show you, but the effect, by showing you the effect, oh, that's an effect of rajas, that's an effect of sattva, that I can show you. And therefore, but the sattva rajas tamas have to have a locus, and the locus of that is the mind. The locus of sattva rajas tamas is mind, which is originally it is the pure consciousness. So now this sattva rajas tamas creating action, creating doership, creating the difference between me and the world, because this is me, and then all outside of this body is the world, and body is also real because it's me, it's real, and then the world also is real. And then there are desires, because the world is something other than me. And this is what becomes bhava bandha hetu. It becomes the cause for bondage. And therefore he says, tasmin vinashte. Mind, you transcend the mind. Now here vinashte, we can never physically destroy the mind. Physically, nothing we are doing. We are just shifting our vision, shifting our understanding. So the same mind which thought that it was the body, that same mind has to start thinking, I am the pure consciousness. That is vinashte. In deep sleep, it is laya. In Updeshsar, Bhagavan says, Mano laya is like the birds, live birds caught in a net. And so they are alive, the birds are alive. So when the net is released, when the net is cut, the birds will all fly away. But if the birds are dead, then you take the net off, where will the birds go? That is manonasha. So that when the nasha happens of the mind, it'll never come back, and not a physical nasha once again. Okay, that establishment in the thought that I am Brahman is the destruction of the mind. Is the same mind. There is only one mind. We don't have too many minds. Like one mind I am bound, one mind will liberate me. No. Same mind. Same mind. It's thinking. That same mind has to start thinking, I am not the body, I am Atma. That is vinashte. And then sakalam vinishtam, then everything means the world will disappear for you. Not physically disappear, it never disappears physically, but it will not affect you anymore. And I have given you this example many times. You take the flu shot, the flu virus does not exist for you. It's vinashte. It's destroyed for you. Everybody else might get flu, but you have taken the shot. You will not get it. So you take care of your own mind, the world will not have any effect on you, because you will come to realize instantly that this world is nothing but a reflection of my own self. What is there to desire? What is there to It's me only. What is there to desire? This is the shift in vision. This Vinashte shift in vision. There's nothing physically to be destroyed or any such thing. And that's what the example, even in deep sleep, the mind gets, I wouldn't say destroyed, laya. It goes into laya, and therefore in the morning it wakes up, and then everything else is there as is, as it was before. Like if I had any worries, all those worries will come up. If I have any happy thoughts, all those vijrumbhate, mind vijrumbhate, everything else, worries, happiness, uh, whatever that I had on the previous night will be there. Okay. स्वप्नेऽर्थशून्ये सृजति स्वशक्त्या भोक्त्रादिविश्वं मन एव सर्वं तथैव जाग्रत्यपि नो विशेषः तत्सर्वमेतत् मनसो विजृम्भणम्. In the dream state, even though there is no contact with the outside world, the mind alone projects the entire dream universe of enjoyer, etc. Similarly, the waking state is no different. All this world of pluralistic phenomena is but a projection of the mind. Extremely important verse. The dream state is extremely important in Vedanta. The rishis have studied only these three states. I have told you this before also. The objective scientists go and study outside things, how they can make the life comfortable, how if it's too cold, then we need a heater. If it's too hot, we need AC. How to make life, easy outside, whatever outside. Now, these subjective scientists, all they had was their own body. Subjective is what going inside. So they only have their own body. So that's what they did. They said, okay, I have this body. And then what is this body made out of? What is this? Then I have this mind. Then I have these. So one aspect was all these koshas that I have. Then what do I experience on a day-to-day basis? There are some hours where I'm awake. And then I fall asleep, and then I dream. Sometimes I dream. I'm not saying every day we dream, but sometimes I dream. So there is a dream state existing. There is a waking state, and then there is a state which is deep sleep. Now, when you analyze the dream state, suppose we analyze the dream and the waking state, what do we find? They're exactly the same. So in the dream, you experience all the emotions, don't you? This is experience, huh? This is not Shastra. Don't you feel scared sometimes in a dream? Don't you feel happy sometimes in a dream? Fear you feel, sad you feel, you cry, you see something, then you cry. Is everybody agreeing with this? All the feelings you feel. I'm not saying you feel it on an everyday basis, huh? Maybe one day dream is happy, one day, but somewhere along in your lifetime, you have gone through all these experiences in dream state. What is happening in the waking state? Are there some different emotions that come up in the waking state? Same. Fear is there, happiness is there, sadness is there, jealousy is there, anger is there, greed is there. Even in dream, I may have become greedy sometime. In the dream, I may have, I eat in the dream. I vomit in the dream. I do everything. And same thing I'm doing in the waking state. Am I doing, think about it. This is extreme. Dream state is the most important in understanding Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. And so the dream, okay, now where is the dream coming? I've explained to you, but maybe some of them, okay. So how is the dream coming about? Dream is compared to a movie theater. So all of you must have seen a movie at some time in your life. So you go into a dark room, a dark theater, and then there is a screen, and then there is a projector behind you. And then that projector, on top of the projector, there is a light. The whole theater is dark, but that light has to stay on. That light cannot go off. So that light is there, and then there is a movie reel. And that movie reel is then projected on the screen. Whatever that you see on the screen has to be in that reel. Has to be. Agree? Like suddenly, suddenly there is one reel of some movie, suddenly some other story cannot come on that screen. Exactly whatever is on the reel has to be seen on the screen. Think about the dream now. What is happening in the dream? Dream only happens when you go into deep sleep. So the deep sleep state, the state of deep sleep is the theater, the dark theater. Okay. Screen. What is the screen? Mind. Okay. Now in the theater, in the movie, we have a reel. What is the reel? Our vasanas. Whatever is in your vasanas only can be dreamt of. Please remember, you will not dream anything which is not in your vasanas. The vasanas are unknown. That's why the dreams are sometimes so weird, so weird. You think, where did I even like think this way? But it is from the vasanas. There is a light on top of the projector. That light is the light of consciousness. That is the pure consciousness in the light of which you see the dream. The dream is projected by the mind. The dream is projected on the screen of the mind, and the dream is projected by the mind. So you see people, you think there are real people there, or real tiger is there. No, it's your mind has become tiger. Your mind is now fearful. Your mind is the one that is running. Okay. So this dream, which is a projection of the mind alone and nothing else, it is created by the mind. It is projected by the mind. It is experienced by the mind as well. Who is experiencing it? Who is the experiencer there? You only. You're only there. Nobody else is there. In your dream, nobody else is there. What is happening in the waking? This is very difficult to understand. But truly speaking, in the waking state also, it is the mind that is projecting the world. And it is the mind that is keeping the world alive. And it is the mind that is experiencing all the emotions that we are going through. Simple example I'll give you. See, if you are very happy, you look out. That's why they say, a very happy person or a happy child is always very happy, because very innocent baby is very innocent. But even if we are happy, don't we feel like the entire world is happy? Don't we? When we are like sad and angry and what's so good about this morning, it's like we are happy, we get up, oh God, good morning, or it's going to be, what good is there in this morning? Oh God, good morning. Like there is nothing good. Everything depends on the state of our mind. That is what is to be understood. That is what is to. That's why here, and the dream. Okay, when you wake up, the dream is a memory, right? You dream, and then sometimes we don't remember what dream it is, but sometimes you will remember. So the dream remains in your psyche as a memory. Think about your own waking world. Other than this moment, which is happening at this second, everything else is a memory. Everything that has happened to this moment is a memory. Future is not there. It is only imagination. So actually there is nothing except this present moment. So the waking world also is nothing but a memory. That is what the ego is. It's a bundle of memories. I was born here. I grew up here. I went to this school. I did this. I did that. This is how I am. All this is memory. All of it is memory. There's nothing. If you remain in the present, there's actually nothing to talk about. That's why you'll see Swamiji's don't talk very much. Because if we talk, we have to talk about the past only. What else will you talk about? What did you eat today? What did you make for dinner today? There's nothing is there to talk, right? This moment, there is really, that's why they say you remain in the present, you are in the presence, you are Brahman. If your mind is absolutely in the present without absolutely dipping into the past or imagining the future, you are one with Brahman. But imagine, it is extremely difficult to do that. Yes, Meena, you have a question?
Yes, Jaya. So question in comparison of a dream and waking state. You said in dream we have deep sleep to make dark room. In waking state it's our ignorance, or and projection in dream state is our uh, what was the screen in
Tell me,
dream?
you tell me, where
Uh,
is the screen from
well,
in the
it's
dream world?
mind.
Mhm.
It is mind.
Correct.
And uh, in waking state, that same mind we call world.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
So,
What is the
so
world? It is
only in
only in your
waking
mind.
state. Oh, actually, yeah. In a dream, we also see world, which we identified as world, and you're saying that's actually not a world. It's just our picture of a world.
It is our mind.
Okay. Oh,
It is our mind.
so yeah, I heard that so many times, and only now well, I
I've
can't
explained it
even.
many times because it's extremely important that we understand dream state.
Thank you.
And the dream, of course, I know there are instances where nightmares are repeated, but there is no control over a dream. You cannot say, of course, there's Mullah Nasiruddin, there's this wise man. He was dreaming, he woke up, he said, "Hey, bring my glasses, bring my glasses." They said, what, why? He says, "No, I want to look at my dream very nicely, clearly. I need my glasses." you know, but we cannot do that. You cannot repeat a dream same way your waking world. Can you repeat your childhood? You can only repeat it in your mind. This is how my childhood was. This is where I grew up. This is only in the mind. Can you become a child again? You cannot repeat any experience. Even the experience of great happiness or great sorrow, after a while, it won't be a great happiness or a great sorrow. It'll be happiness, sorrow, and then it'll be like, okay, okay, fine, fine, sorrow, and then it'll just fade away. Both of them will fade away. Am I right?
Jayaji, this is Tanu. I have a question. In actually two parts. So in dreams, they're very nonsensical. They don't really make any sense whatsoever. Like you think, what was that about?
Yeah,
Like they're
sometimes.
disjointed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean sometimes, but
sometimes.
like the connections or whatever I remember of the times that I dream, it just it's quite mind-boggling because you think, I don't know where this is coming from. What is whereas in, I mean, I'm just trying to understand, like you said, that the waking, the dream state is not that different from the waking state. Yet when we function in a waking state, it's not crazy. Like it's not haphazard. Things actually make sense or should be making sense, I guess. They
Yeah,
don't just be disjointed pieces coming, one time
yeah,
you're at the sea, the next second, you're flying in the sky, or some very weird stuff.
yeah.
So I mean, I struggle to understand that. And the second part of it is, what is actually in what is happening to the intellect? Because in the waking state, hopefully, I think we are using our intellect, yeah. But what is happening to that intellect when we are dreaming and sleeping?
Intellect is folded in the dream. The reason is there's no doership.
But we
Doership is
are
coming
doing.
from intellect. Whatever you do in the dream, you don't say that I am actually doing this in the dream. While the dream is going on, do you say, in the waking world, you will say, I am asking this question. That's you have that thought, right? This is a question that has arisen in my mind. That has come from doership. That is doing at the mental level. that this thought has come. But suppose in the dream you were to ask a question. Suppose this class was going on in a dream and you were to ask the question, there won't be any doership because the intellect is totally folded in dream. Now, what is coming into the dream, and yeah, you're right, sometimes the dream doesn't make sense at all. And one of the examples that Swamiji has given, you go for a circus and then you come home and then you dream that there is an elephant who is wearing a tutu and high heels and has got wings and the elephant is flying. So in dream, what happens is you mix things up, you can, and then it doesn't make sense. But whatever is being seen in a dream is coming from the vasana level only. Where it will come from? Where can it come from? Whatever is happening in the waking state also is coming from the level of the vasana. We don't realize. We think that is the ignorance. We think, I thought this day and my day has gone perfect because I thought it. That is ego. That is doership. You think, but actually it is happening as per your vasanas. As per your vasanas. This is what is happening. That's the similarity. The dream also is happening as per your vasanas and vasanas alone. And the waking also is happening as per your vasanas and vasanas alone. There is nothing else. Except you feel, you have the doership. I did this very systematically. I did this and then I did this and then I did this and then I did this. You take on the ownership. It is ego, and that is bondage. That is bondage. Therefore, Upanishad actually says there are only three states. These three states are all dream states. We say, in ignorance, we say, this is my waking state where I'm very intelligent and I do everything in a very nice way, blah, 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 blah. And then this is my dream, which doesn't make any sense, and who cares? Some of them do care about the dream because, they come and ask Swamiji's, like, I had this dream, what does that mean? And what does that mean? And then there is a deep sleep state. But Upanishad says these are the three dream states. All three are dream. With reference to the supreme reality, these three states are only a dance on that substratum. And Raman Maharshi and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, as you go up, they say there are only two states. Dream and deep sleep. And then as you go higher, there are no states. There are no states at all. Why? Because there is only the pure consciousness. And there are no states. But this is the hierarchy. So that's why right now, this is what he's saying here. Even though there is no contact with the outside world, the mind alone projects. Same way in the waking state, it is a projection of the mind and mind alone. That's why when we are happy, we feel the world is a happy place. When we ourselves are sad or worried, we project that on. When we are lonely, most common, when we are lonely, oh, she's lonely. We project. We don't realize that. We think that we are very compassionate. Poor thing, she's lonely. At first, you are lonely. And the one who, I'm telling you, this is happening right now that's why only this is coming to my mind. If you don't consider yourself to be lonely, you will never consider any other person to be lonely. Never. So what's there to be lonely? God is with you. But the person who himself or herself is lonely will always project that loneliness on somebody else. That's why the mind that's why people say, some says, how is, quite a few people are asking me now. Today also somebody asked me, how is Mrs. Kapahi doing? I said, she's doing fine. People who are worried, they're like, oh, now she lost her husband. Now I said, no, she has got Gurudev's blessing. She has got the whole Bhagavad Gita behind her. She knows this is grace of the God. She knows that. But this is my mindset. So that is what I project on her. But some other people who think, oh, so bad, her husband passed. He was 97, man. Come on. How long is he going to live?
Yeah,
they project that on her. They say, oh, she looks sad. She looks lonely. No, I said, no, she's not sad. She's not lonely. She has her knowledge with her. That's why this knowledge is the most important thing in life. But people project. That is how the waking world is. And that is what Bhagwan is trying to make a point. Tathaiva jagrat tapi no vishesha. There's nothing different between the jagrat state and the dream sleep state. Raman Maharshi says this is dream. Raman Maharshi also has said that the three dreams, the waking dream, deep sleep, all three are dreams.
Jayaji,
Or Brother two, yeah.
I wanted to ask, when you said that the vasanas are what we live through even in the waking state, right? So if we have to conquer or go above the vasanas, in the waking state is the only state where you can correct the whatever is we need to do, right? So how do we do that?
Purify
if we
the
cannot
vasanas.
Control the vasanas, then how can we correct it?
Purify the mind.
Okay.
Purify the mind. Make it more and more sattvic. Okay? And one thing about dream, I'll tell you, see, the experiences that we get in this life are because of the vasanas that we have collected. And what do I mean by experience? The experience of joy and sorrow, okay? And all the pairs of opposites. Honor, dishonor. Suppose somebody insults me, then I have created a vasana for myself that I should get insulted, and then then I feel. Then what do I feel? I feel sad. Okay? Now that we are in the spiritual path, suppose if somebody insults me, I must have the background to understand that don't react. That is how you'll purify the vasana. Purifying vasana is what, one vasana gets exhausted, but by identifying with that experience, I create another vasana. The vasanas breed vasanas. And how is the breeding happening? Somebody insulted me, now I'm sulking, and how about why they insult? I have created another vasana for myself. If I disidentify, and whatever method, you can say, okay, some demerit I had, so that's why I had to get insulted by this person. Okay, my demerit is gone.
Okay.
That way, what you've done is you've exhausted the vasana, but you have not created a new one. Now, in the dream state, I'll tell you the advantage of having emotions in the dream state is because you have when the vasanas are not that strong, they will appear in the dream because the birth has happened to exhaust the vasanas. Okay, so the weaker vasanas appear in dream. Then in dream, I feel fearful, I feel happy, I feel jealous, I feel greedy, whatever that I feel. What happens in dream is because there is no doership, the vasana gets exhausted and no new vasana is created. Okay, in the waking state, that I have to be careful of. Because why? Because there is doership. In waking state, there is doership. The ego is very active. Okay, so what happens is, it is the ego that gets hurt, or the ego feels happy, both ways. Maybe somebody might honor me, somebody might dishonor me. The ego will feel happy or sad. It is very much awake. It is very much active. And then when the ego identifies with that, I am such a great person, and therefore now, I ask such a great question, whatever, you see, I have created another vasana. So the more I disidentify with the honor as well as with dishonor, I purify myself. Therefore, Bhagwan in chapter 2 said, if you do not maintain equanimity of mind, it is a sin. That is how you purify the vasanas. So you exhaust the vasanas. The birth has happened to exhaust vasanas. Problem is, while exhausting, we also are adding to those vasana balance. So exhaust the vasanas, there will be no birth. That way. So that's why he says, Tathaiva Jagrat api no visheshaha tat sarvam metan manaso vibrajanam. Just like the mind has projected the dream, same way the same mind is projecting the waking world. So don't identify with it. Okay? Whatever comes to us, accept it. Accept it. As whatever method that you want to use, you use, but accept. Don't revolt. Okay?
Jayaji?
Yeah.
I had one question. I was talking to somebody and we were just talking about these vasanas, and that person was saying, now, just for example, like if I have 5,000 vasanas, just a number. Out of the 5,000, 2,000 vasanas are good vasanas, so to say, and then the rest are bad. And if we just ignore the bad and we just work on the good, getting rid of the good vasanas, is that the right approach? I mean, does it do any good to just keep them suppressed, or should we not, like, we need to be equanimous, like you said, so that we, whether it's good or bad, right?
See, the vasanas are there. If there is whatever, so much good and so much bad, we don't have a control over the vasanas. The very fact that that vasana, whatever vasana balance is there, when we took birth, all those vasanas have to be exhausted. So all those vasanas are going to come as thoughts in the mind. That is why birth has taken place. So you cannot say, because how can you say ignore that many vasanas when you don't even know what vasanas are there? The vasana you will come to know only when it comes as a thought in the mind, and that's where you have control. That's where you will exercise control. So say there is a vasana of anger in me. Now what happens is every little thing is making me angry. Now, when that anger rises in me, I have previously, before we came into this knowledge, because I am angry and why did you do this and right? Now we are on this path. Now, this as a spiritual seeker, you should say, okay, I'm getting angry. First, you can say, I am getting angry. Then you say, I am not this mind. Anger is rising in. That's why Gurudev has given that very powerful thing. It's not I am angry. Anger is rising in me. So when you shift from I am angry to anger is rising in me, what is happening is me and anger have been separated. Now you say, this anger has got nothing to do with me. And when you say, who is the one, that's Raman Maharshi's method, say, who is angry? You will dissolve the I, you dissolve the ego, you dissolve the anger at that point. And that is how you will take care of the negative vasanas. That they will come into the mind. Otherwise, you will never know only. How will you know that there is a negative vasana in the mind? How will you know that? Right? You won't. So when the thought comes, at that time you exercise control. And the way to exercise control is to first become aware of that thought. If you only think that you are only angry and you are only greedy, that means you're not aware. You're getting carried away with the thought. So becoming aware is a separation between you and the thought, whatever thought that might be. When there is a separation, then you can deal with that thought. Don't let the thought overpower you. You overpower the thought. And one of the methods by Bhagavan is, who is this thought coming to? Who are you? You are false. I am the one that is real. I am the pure consciousness. You are the ego. You are false. So that thought that is coming to you also is false. This knowledge must be immediately, it has to come to our mind at that point. Normally it comes afterwards. At that point we react. That's the problem. That's why every week we need to study. That's why Bhagwan is hammering. Bhagwan Shankaracharya, you think he had nothing better to do? They just sit down and just go on writing. No, it is hammering. It is hammering. And we need that. We need that hammering because we never remember. What is to be remembered, we never remember. At that time, we remember afterwards. What is the point? What is the point? Arey, I shouldn't have done that. Then what is the point? The moment is gone now. That's what. We'll read one more. Sushupti kale manasi praline naivasti kinchit sakala prasiddhehe ato manakalpita eva punsaha sansara etasya navastu tosti. In deep sleep, the mind is reduced to its causal state and nothing perceivable exists, as is proved by the universal experience of all people. Therefore, man's world of change is just the creation of his own mind and has no objective reality. So Bhagavan is concluding now. So that's why he says, universal experience of all people, of all of us. We don't need Shastra to tell us that when I am in deep sleep, maybe in the afternoon nap or at night, definitely in deep sleep, nothing really exists for me. Do I know if I'm a beggar or a king? Do I know if I'm rich or poor? Do I know if I have worries or I've won the lottery? Do I have, do I have any kind of thought? Nothing. That's why therefore these states are very important. We have to study the states. I mean, study our own states. So this is what he says, that there is nothing in the deep sleep. Okay, nothing exists. Why? Because the mind has gone into the causal seed, into the seedal state, which is the vasana level. That's where the mind goes. The mind doesn't die. I told you. How do I know mind is not dead? Because if I'm sleeping and somebody calls out Jaya, 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 don't I wake up? Don't I wake up? I wake up, right? So that's why the mind is there. Because does body know that it is Jaya, or mind knows that it is Jaya? Who knows? Knowledge is not there at the level of the body and the pranas. Knowledge is only at the level of the mind. So when somebody says Jaya and I wake up, that means it is the mind. So the mind is there. It is there, but it's in seed form. It's like, it's fire. Fire is there in the wood. Is it not? Everybody agrees? Otherwise, when you rub two sticks, how suddenly fire will come? Because it is inside. So it is an unmanifest state. Fire is there in the wood. That's why when two sticks are rubbed, like campfire they do, there is fire, which is manifested. So the mind is like that. In deep sleep, it is. So there is no world existing. And when the mind comes up, only then the world comes. So how the world can be real? It's not there. It's not there when the mind is not there. That is the point. Is the world there? You might think, this world where I do things so systematically and so this thing, that thing, everything. Where is it when the mind goes to sleep? Where is it? It's not there. It's not there. This is what he's saying. Sansara etasya na vastutah asti. Vastutah is reality. This sansara, this world has no real reality. It is like the snake on the rope. It is like the water on the sands, the mirage water on the sand. The sand is real. The rope is real. And this sansara, what is real is the pure consciousness. What is real is you. And you means not your ego. That is what we have given reality to right now. I think I'm the ego. That's why I get hurt. That's why I'm feeling happy. That's why I even think that I'm doing things in a systematic way. That shows strength of the ego. Okay, so because there is no this thing. Okay, any questions? Next week we'll, yeah.
Is vasana something to do with the correcting the way we think, or do we have to overpower the vasana? What I'm trying to say is to attain the absolute pure state. How does one, what are the kind of steps he would do, the realized master? I wonder. That's a kind of question that I'm trying to.
Yeah. So the three steps that Upanishad gives us is Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. So Shravana is the first step, listening. So you need to listen to more and more of this knowledge. Listening. And what will happen with listening is, this will give you indirect knowledge. Paroksha it will give you, right? It will tell you that Brahman is, God is, world is unreal. All these things you will hear. Then you need to churn it in your mind. Now, to churn those things in your mind, the mind needs a level of purity. So that's why those four things come into play: Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam. So leave Mumukshutvam aside. Viveka, Vairagya. So the first step is Viveka. That's what we are doing right now. So we are doing Shravana of how to do Viveka. So we are on the path. That is how you will, you have to have faith, and then there is faith in there. You need to have faith in what the masters are saying.
At the intellectual level or my mental level, I seem to understand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out to get out of this, to make it a reality. For example, into myself. How does one do that? And that's what I know you said about mananam, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasana.
Purify your mind. Purify the mind. Everything will become very crystal clear. Purify the mind. Remove the clouds. Don't worry about the sun. Don't worry about the sun. Clouds, which are the impurities in the mind. And that is sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho. That's why I told you that verse is the most important verse in Bhagavad Gita. Samata, samatvam. Try to be equanimous in all experiences of your life. Start there and see where you go, see where you reach. As your mind purifies, things they just become so clear, like all the cobwebs are removed, and then clearly you will see everything. That's where the guru can't do that for us. See, that is our responsibility. Guru can tell us. That's why Guru is telling us now, telling us right now, right? In Vivekachudamani we are hearing. So Guru can tell us, but to do, we have to only do. Guru can't do it for us. Okay? Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantām nyayena margena mahim mahishaः gobrahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalini desho yam kshovarahita brahmana santu nirbhayaः om sarvesham swasti bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu sarvesham purnam bhavatu sarvesham mangalam bhavatu sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम. Hari Om, everybody.